I cannot wait for this conversation. I have been waiting on pins and needles since Las Vegas, and the next episode of the Las Vegas version of the Life at Full Blast podcast. Valerie David, otherwise known as the Pink Hulk, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am so honored to be here and so excited too. Oh, I've been looking forward to this so much.
Oh my gosh, the minute I met you and heard your story, I was like, this woman, it's no wonder you have a play called The Pink Hulk. It's no wonder because you are a superhero. Your story is so profound. And I kind of want to go back and start from the beginning before you tell anybody what the heck The Pink Hulk is. So
Sure.
I want to go back to your very first play and talk about your story of coming to the United States and what that was like for you, that journey for you.
Oh, yes. So my father is from Baghdad,
Mhm.
and he came to the United States in the mid 1940s, and then had settled in in first Deal, New Jersey, and then New York. So it was an incredible journey. He fled the country in Baghdad in Iraq in because of religious persecution from
Mhm.
a pogrom called the Farhud, where over 1,000 Jews were killed. And they fled that night, his family, when he was 8 years old, and they went to India first, and then they went to the United States. So I am so proud of my family, and the courage of my family
Mhm.
is just amazing. And I think that my father and his influence on me has made me who I am today. And I'm so in awe of being an 8-year-old kid having to leave everything behind. And it's what
Mhm.
we're hearing now, so many of the same stories going on all over. And so it's a story that unfortunately has keeps happening, and it's something that we should um, realize what history should not repeat itself on all fronts, and there should not be this discrimination against any religion, any LGBTQ, any race, gender. We should have that tolerance.
Yeah.
So I grew up with knowing that uh, it is important to accept people and embrace people's differences
Mhm.
because of what my family went through, that we are all one people, we are all one family, and that we shouldn't forget that. So I think from a very early age, seeing the generational trauma of family and what that meant, and it wasn't just my immediate family, there were other relatives that had to escape as well and flee.
Yeah.
And so then, yeah, so I was a New Yorker and then went to Virginia for 30 years and then came back to New York, to back to the roots of New York.
I love it. Well, I can see your courage threaded through every aspect of your story, and I can see how that may have came from your father and just that experience, right? Because that would have taken so much courage to go through all
Definitely.
of that. So tell us now that the audience is like, who is the Pink Hulk? Tell us
Yeah.
who is the Pink Hulk?
Who is the Pink Hulk? I love that question. I've never been asked that way before.
Really?
So I thank you, Cindy, and thank you for all you do. And you have an incredible podcast. And the one thing I wanted to mention is that one thing I love that you say is that I don't see problems, I see opportunity, and I turn chaos into clarity. So I want to thank you for that because you do so much for this world and you make this world bright. So the Pink Hulk, yeah, you're the podcast Hulk. The Pink Hulk to me is representational of courage, strength, not making excuses, feeling the fear, but doing it anyway,
Mhm.
feeling the anger and doing it anyway to solve those problems where we look at problems as opportunities. And I think that's what the Pink Hulk does too. That
Mm,
that the Pink Hulk wants people's problems eliminated. And the concept of the Hulk was the Hulk character, Bill Bixby. Yeah, like that's the Hulk I grew up with, the TV series that he stepped in to do good, even though there was a high price to pay for it, because he would become this monster, but the monster ended up trying to do good. But
mhm,
yet was always having to go to the next town, or kind of, there was a bit of loneliness for him being the Hulk, but he did it anyway. And he used the adversity of getting the radiation
mhm,
mishap in the lab to be able to do good. And so I feel like my hiccup of cancer is to turning that around to make good and helping
yes.
others.
So let's talk about that, because three-time cancer survivor, not even survivor, conqueror.
Right.
Let's dive into this story.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was first diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and stage 3.
Mhm.
And I had 5 months of, excuse me, six, oh, what, no, 6 months of chemo condensed into 3 months.
Oof.
So I was on a special protocol. So I had 6 months worth of in 3. So that was very tough.
Yeah.
But it really taught me a lot about what we can do to we are stronger than we think we are. We
Hmm.
can overcome those obstacles. So if you would have thought, if when the doctor said to me, you can handle this because of your health and your age and your heart and all these tests, you can do it.
Hmm.
And I think that one of the greatest things is to have a superhero squad. And throughout my diagnoses, I've had a superhero squad of friends and family and doctors. And
Yeah.
that's one tip with people listening out there. If your doctor doesn't believe in you and your health and your survivorship, then I say abandon that ship and go
Abandoned ship.
elsewhere.
Get
Yeah,
another doctor.
abandon
Yeah.
ship of the, yeah, if they're not believing. And that's in any doctor's appointments, whether you're, getting your finger wrapped because you broke it playing football, or you have MS, or have doctors that will help you and that will be with you, and on your journey. So
Hmm.
then 15 years later, I was celebrating my 15th year anniversary of being cancer free of lymphoma, and I
Hmm.
found a lump. And I said, well, I'll just see how it goes. And then it turned out to be breast cancer.
Hmm.
So I had surgery and chemo and radiation. And that's where the Pink Hulk began, because I had radiation just like the Green Hulk had radiation.
Right.
And that cancer experience started turning me into the Pink Hulk, where I wanted to help people, and using that anger of going, I have cancer a second time. What?
Yeah.
It's like, again. And
Mhm.
so using that anger to fight and not to fear, and I see there's a sign on your wall that says the only thing to fear is fear itself. So
And
it was going.
spiders.
And spiders. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And spiders. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm afraid of spiders too.
Yeah.
And the roaches of New York City. We get a lot.
Yeah.
They're bigger than spiders. They're
Blech.
bigger than tarantulas. Blech. But anyway, I digress. But that fear we have to go through, and we're always, Cindy, going to be faced with things outside of our comfort zone.
Yep.
And the only way I think we can grow as people and as a society is to acknowledge those uncomfortable zones and break through them, for the greater good for yourself and for others. And I think that's really the hardest part, is to not be complacent and always stretch yourself to do things that you would not normally do. And I think,
Amen.
right?
Yes.
And I'll share this with you because this just happened, and so
Ooh.
this is my announcement. So at my age right now, I'm applying for a Master's of Fine Arts.
Yes,
And
you are.
I, what'd you say?
Yes, you are.
Yes, and I have to tell you, I freaked out.
Hmm.
Like when I hit the submit button, I'm like, I have an audition, in the new year, and I was like, oh my God, I'm really doing this. And
Hmm.
I was elated and the happiest, and it was also the scariest. But that's okay. And I feel like, and if I don't get in, Cindy, I don't care
Yeah,
because I tried.
you tried.
I'm trying, and it's pushing me beyond what I ever thought I would do, to go
Mhm.
back to school years later to do this and try it. Why not?
Yeah,
There's nothing that's stopping us. We
yes,
only stop ourselves. And
exactly.
we have to also be around people who are positive, who uplift us, who believe in our dream instead of thinking it's a pipe dream. I want to take pipe out of dream,
Right?
and right, thinking of a pipe, have that away, because
Hmm.
a pipe dream means to me that it's not going to happen
Yeah,
and it's just a fantasy. So
exactly.
we have to make that a reality, and there's no reason why we
Yeah,
need to not live our dreams, and
go
then to
for
be
it.
around the people who support those dreams instead of, you know, maybe it's their own worries or their own insecurities of why they may give you negative talk, not
Right.
intentionally, but they're, I think, worried for their, like, looking at themselves like, I wouldn't be able to do that. But and that person couldn't do it either, but it's limiting beliefs that we have to erase.
Exactly. Well, you heard it here first, folks.
Ah,
He is
yes.
going back to school. So
Go
exciting.
back to school.
Okay. So you get through second cancer
Yes.
diagnosis, and then you get hit with a third
Or
diagnosis. And this
yes,
one way worse.
way worse,
Way
way worse,
worse.
way worse. So, and that was also the other thing, that it's this was by far the scariest diagnosis,
Mm.
because it was stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. And as my father would say, "Oh, is there anything after stage 4?" And I'm like, "No,
No.
uh, you don't want anything after stage 4, because then you wouldn't be saying stage 4."
Right.
So, that was probably the hardest thing that I was faced with, the biggest challenge. And I'd already been performing the Pink Hulk, because the Pink
Hmm.
Hulk came out of the first breast cancer, and I
Hmm.
was touring and going all over the world, and I was diagnosed the day I was performing the show
Oh my
at,
God.
in Portland, Oregon. And then, Cindy, what are my choices? Life is about choices. What
Yep.
was my choice? To not do the show and cancel it and just
Yep.
hide under a rock?
Or
No,
straighten that crown and get up
straighten
on
the
stage.
crown. Yep, yep, and exactly, and just dive in and do it. And so I did.
Mhm.
And I didn't tell anyone then, because I was trying to process it myself. And
Yeah.
plus you were wanting to be a beacon of hope, and then all of a sudden going, "Yep, I just got diagnosed again."
Right.
Um, yes, whoops. And
Yeah.
so so and I didn't know, I just knew that's what it was. And the interesting part too is that I had 3 biopsies before I went to Portland for the show. So I already was not feeling great physically,
Mhm.
but I could have stopped it then and said, well, I've had 3 biopsies, bandaged, and I'm not going to go to Portland. But I flew and I said, Screw it, I'm doing it, the
Yeah.
show." And then while I'm there, and it was funny, Cindy, because I kept going, "Please, God, just don't no diagnosis while I'm there. Just wait till I get back. Wait till I get back, and then I got the diagnosis the day the show was opening.
Right.
And I did the show, I did the run, and then I came back and then we were figuring out next steps. And
Mhm.
I picked the drug that I was on because I had studied its ad campaign when in between acting gigs. I'm very lucky to be an editor for ad agencies that I
Mm.
really enjoy. And I was working on this ad campaign for a new metastatic breast cancer drug 8 months earlier. And I was like, oh, that looks like a good drug. But I
Mm.
don't have metastatic breast cancer. And then when I did, I'd asked for the drug and I got on it. And so 5 months later, when I got another scan and I was terrified, and I still did the show knowing that I still was not sure what my future was going to be. And I still did the
Mhm.
show. And I ended up finding out that I had no evidence of disease, which is happening still. So I feel grateful and lucky. And I feel that the Hulk, my own show, helped me, which was the irony because every time I did it throughout this treatment, and I'm on treatment for life, and
Mhm.
that's fine, it's keeping me alive. And it's just, we're looking at cancer now as a chronic illness, just
Mhm.
like diabetes or HIV, that they're drugs that will keep us alive and keeping us thriving, and it doesn't stop me from doing anything that I'm doing.
It does not, because this is where the story that I wanted you to share is coming to. So after you get your diagnosis that you are cancer free since 2019, is that correct?
Well, I would say no evidence of
No
disease.
evidence of.
So,
Okay.
right, because when you're stage 4, I'd like to say cancer free, but medically it's no evidence of
Okay.
disease.
No
But
evidence
it's
since 2019?
yes,
Okay.
April 1st, 2019. Joke's on you, cancer. And I want people, to be inspired by that
Mhm.
if you have a cancer diagnosis, it's not a death sentence. I've been dealing, Cindy, with cancer. This is my 25th year.
Mm.
This all began.
Not a
And
death sentence.
still here.
No.
And I want other people to be inspired that I'm here 25 years and I still go to checkups every 6 weeks. Every 6 weeks, I'm on medication for life. It's a part of my life, but
Yeah.
it doesn't rule my life.
No, because not only are you traveling around the world performing the Pink Hulk, but you also did something, what, 6 months after your treatment finished?
Yeah, yes,
What did you
well,
do?
so here's the thing. So it was kind of crazy. And this is where I say the
Mhm.
naysayers. And so I finished treatment at the end of February, and then I was 8 months of chemo, radiation, surgery, and then um, so February, March, April. So 2 months later, I couldn't believe I did this. I completed a 40-mile bike marathon. And
That.
that was one of the most mountaintop moments of my entire life because I was still, growing hair back. Like I still just finished radiation. I never thought I would be able to even do 10 miles of it. Like the night before, and I'll share this with you, I was riding with other people and I emailed them all and I said, go on without me. I if I drop out after mile 5 or maybe mile 10, just go on without me. I'll
Mhm.
just give it a try. But when I crossed that finish line and my one of my best friends, Wendy, was riding with me for most of the ride, and or I should say actually all of the ride, what am I saying? But we all were at different levels, so some were going faster than others. I'm always the caboose, but that's okay. The caboose still goes on, it still rides the tracks. The caboose
Exactly.
still moves, and still crosses the finish line. So even though I was the caboose, I had no idea that I would finish it. And then each mile I was like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And then the funny part was that and I've never shared this before, that when there's the Verrazano Bridge that you go up, it's a huge incline,
Mhm.
and these athletic, like, guys, thighs were, so muscular. They were they looked like the wrestlers, and and they got off their bikes, Cindy, and walked up the hill
Mhm.
of the bridge, and I did not. And even though it looked like I was in the La Brea tar pits and my legs were like going like 1 second per hour, I did not get off the bike, and it looked like I was uh, waddling through molasses, but I did not get off the bike. And I remember looking at them and going like, ha ha ha. And here I was, like, way older than they were, and they got off their bikes and they could not go up the hill.
Oh,
And then when you get to the top of the Verrazano Bridge, then it's downhill from there. But
mhm.
it's not downhill, is it, Cindy? It's uphill, right? It's downhill, literally uphill, figuratively.
Yes.
So I knew I had it, and my friend said to me afterwards, "I knew you were going to do it. I just knew
Oh,
you were, but I never thought that I was." So what that message is that I had this best friend, Wendy, saying, "You can do it."
yeah.
And I know you could do it. And they all thought so too, which was wonderful. And then I doubted myself, but then I kept going, well, I'm past the mile marker of
Yeah.
10 and 20 and 30. And then, well, if I did 30, then I can certainly do 10 more.
Yeah.
And then it became this, I mean, crossing that finish line, I was screaming, Cindy. I was like, I just finished breast cancer treatment 2 months ago. And everyone's like, good for you. And they're cheering and clapping. But it was just one of the most magic moments of my entire life. And
Oh,
and I and I want other people to know that they have that magic. And the tagline of the Pink Hulk is one woman's journey to find the superhero within.
yeah.
But it's not one woman's journey, it's everybody's journey to find their own superhero within.
Yeah. Oh, I just love that story so much. It
Thank
still brings tears to my eyes. When I heard it in Vegas the first time, I was just blown away because we
you.
walk through life and see so many saying, I can't do that because I'm in cancer treatment. I can't do that because I can't have that because. And here you are saying, screw it, I can do whatever I want.
Exactly.
And it's
Exactly.
just so inspiring, like stage 4 cancer, 6 weeks. I said 6 months, 6 weeks out of treatment, and you're
Yes.
doing a 40-mile bicycle marathon.
Yeah. And it was just such a great moment.
Oh,
And I couldn't believe it. And it's funny, I felt that same moment hitting that submit button,
yeah,
because it's that same, it's so analogous. It's such a um, lateral feeling, because I'm entering something that God knows I'll be able to do this and pull this off.
yeah.
And like, who am I to go, I can do this, but who
Mhm.
am I not to say I can do
Yeah,
this, right?
yeah.
And I had that same feeling of, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. I may not get in, but
Mhm.
what if I do?
Right.
And but if I try, and that also goes to people listening, that if I didn't complete that marathon, I still ended up being victorious, even if I dropped out at mile 5 or mile 10.
Yeah,
It still was a victory. I still pushed myself to do something that I didn't think I could do, and that's what I'm doing now.
yeah.
And,
Just
and
the
it's
fact
never too late,
just
right?
the fact that you showed up to try alone is
Exactly.
everything, and that really speaks to the courage that you demonstrate, and I just honor how you're moving about the world and demonstrating to all of us what courage looks like. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you. And I want people to have that courage. And if it's a bad relationship or, this woman with MS came up to me in Indianapolis when I did my show and she saw the bike marathon scene. She saw the whole show and she said, after the show, I didn't think I could bike again because I have MS and
Mhm.
now I want to bike again.
Yeah.
So that's like, and it's just making you don't know what impact you have on people. And I had a high school friend last year reach out to me and she said, I never told anyone I had breast cancer. And now I'm done with treatment, but I want you to know I thought of you the whole time. And your
Mhm.
story gave me courage. And she was not, and she wasn't public about it. And you don't have to be. I mean,
Mhm.
everybody to each his own. I made it public because of the show, which also was scary. Like
Right.
I'm telling the world I have cancer 3 times, and
Right.
that worried me about the
Mhm.
stigma, really, Cindy, of, oh, and I thought, and I'll be really honest, I thought, I was damaged goods. I'm like, what is wrong with
Mhm.
me? Something's wrong with me, and it's not, it's not that at all. I look at it as now a blessing and a gift and something I overcame, and I shouldn't be ashamed of it. I
Hell
should be
no.
proud of it, which I am. But
Yeah.
there was a time where I'm like, the third time, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
what are people gonna think? And for a while, I wondered if I should add it to the Pink Hulk story because
Right.
the end of it was being a two-time cancer survivor. And one
Right.
of my friends said, are you the Pink Hulk? And I'm like, yeah. And she's
Yeah.
like, would the Pink Hulk not add this in? And I'm like, you're right,
Yeah.
and then, it was having the superhero squad say, wake up
Mhm.
and do this because you're not being truthful to yourself and you're not being truthful to others.
Yeah. I love that so much. And I love how you keep bringing it back to who you're surrounding yourself with. So, for our audience, if you don't have those people that are lifting you up and supporting you, surround yourself with podcasts, with books. Find the people. We have social media for a reason to use it to
Right.
find your tribe and find those people who will lift you up. Because, as Valerie's demonstrated, they are out there
They
everywhere.
are there. Yeah, even meetup groups and Eventbrites, there are groups for everything. I lost my father last year
Mm,
and I knew I needed help and I joined a grief support group, a virtual
mhm.
grief support group. And I think there's a lot of shame about not about asking for help.
Yeah.
And I'm the first to be like, I need help.
Yep.
I can't get through this. And there's no shame in needing help and knowing because you know that if there's something bigger than yourself that's a problem, then don't have that courage to ask for the help,
Yeah.
you know.
So good. Valerie, I feel like I could talk to you all day long. We're going to have you back on the show
I'd
because we
love
need to
that.
find out what happens with the master's degree.
I
So,
know, I know. And I will say, I have to say this though, if I don't get in, I found out I get 2 more tries, so
yeah,
I can
you
apply 2 more times. So that takes a little pressure off. But
do.
yeah,
Excellent.
I mean, what are the chances? Slim. Who cares though? I don't care.
Go
Am
for
I gonna not do it? I'm like, I've got an audition date.
it.
I'm really doing this. And I feel so good about it because I'm so uncomfortable about it.
Yeah.
Like you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
That's when you know it's the right decision. When you're so uncomfortable, you can't help it. You're like, okay, I gotta go this way.
Yeah, I sometimes think about it and feel nauseous, like sick to my stomach with butterflies,
Yeah.
but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. And what's the worst thing? It'll make me grow as a person just to try.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love
Yeah.
it so much. Thank you for
Thank
the
you,
work that you do
Cindy.
in
You're
the
the
world,
best.
for the support that you provide through all of your trials and tribulations and through the play and through everything you're doing. Any last words for our audience?
Well, first, my last words are to thank Cindy
Mm,
for having me on there. And I just, when I met you, we instantly connected. It was like a sister from another mister, you
yeah.
know. I loved meeting your family, and it was really wonderful. And I think like the words of wisdom would be to take a pause.
Mm,
Sometimes you need to take a pause. Um, you know, we're always programmed to have to do this and post and this and that and answer this and answer that. But if you don't take a pause, you don't have time to reevaluate or figure out next steps for yourself because we're go, go, go. And there's nothing wrong with taking a pause and just having time for yourself. And I think that's what we're losing. And yeah, and go to pinkhulkplay.com to find my schedule and social media is very easy at Pink Hulk Play, at Pink Hulk Play, at Pink Hulk Play, X and Instagram and Facebook and everything. And you know, feel free to reach out because I counsel cancer patients and I'm also going to be doing a workshop on solo shows, how to produce and things like that. Because a lot of people are interested in doing solo shows,
I love
and
that.
'cause
Yeah.
everyone has a story.
Yep.
Everyone, like you have your story is, you know, as well. So, you know,
And even Mars, my cat, has a story. He decided he
yeah.
needs to come join us now.
Oh, I mean, his name's Mara.
Mars. So I have two,
Mars.
Mars and Jupiter, and this is
I
Mars.
love it.
And he's decided that it's snack time. So he's
Oh
come
my gosh. So yeah, even Mars has a story. Maybe a Mars bar, you know, like a, you know, and I love the name Jupiter. But I think and also when the chips are down, and this is happening, we're living in a very tough world right now,
Mhm.
that things will get better.
Yeah.
Things will get better. And take that pause to do whatever you need to meditate or get a massage or call a friend or, you know, find your peeps and surround yourself with positivity. And it's okay to say no.
Yes.
Because I also love the phrase no is a complete sentence.
Yes, it
And
is.
yes, and I need my tears to get to my steel. And I think that's
Mm.
also very
Oh,
important.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that.
There's no weakness in that. It's steel. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So,
Oh my
thank
gosh.
you so much.
Valerie, the Pink Hulk, thank you so
Ah,
much for being on the show today. We
thank
will
you.
definitely have you back to hear more of your journey when it's time.
Yes. And thank you so much. And thank you for being such an inspiration as well.
Lots of love.